Staff. One volunteer, other than customer service. Yes, sir.
National Sales Manager?
National Sales Manager. Okay. Sales Manager for
Credit card processing.
credit card process. Fantastic. So the reason why I came into the insurance business is because I was a national sales manager in that company. But I said to myself, rather than helping people with their credit cards, I want to help them way beyond just their credit cards and help them with their lives. Change their lives, touch their hearts, put them in a better position than I've walked in before. Put them in a better peace of mind, rather than just give them a credit card. You know, giving credit cards to people is a great peace of mind. But rather, I want to give that peace of mind to their children. Knowing that if God forbid something happens to you, your children would be okay. Your children would be in a peace of mind. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Very good. You can use that in your personal story.
I think you should.
So, any other volunteer? You want to throw me a job background you have?
Psychology.
Psychology. Okay. You know, before I came to this business, I was a psychologist, and I help people a lot, giving them advices on what's best in their lives. Okay. But I thought to myself, what if I can help people way beyond just psychology? Rather than giving them advices, why don't I just help them with something in front of them, right on the table, give them a peace of mind, change their lives, touch their hearts, put them in a better position in their lives. You know, when I was a psychologist, it was fantastic when I gave advices to people. People always came to me and they said, thank you so much for helping me. Okay? But I thought to myself, psychology is more a hobby for me than a career. And I thought to myself, what if I can do that for people just by free? By not even charging them. When I sell a life insurance policy, you know what? I can give you psychology advices. I'm going to put that for free on your policy. How about that? With some Chinese food on it. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you want to build credibility. You want to give them a reason why you came to the insurance business. Okay? Now, when you get to the closing part, you don't want to ask questions on closing. Okay? What you want to do is, I'm going to ask you some health questions. And after the health questions, I'm going to show you three options. And after the three options, I want you to pick the one that is most beneficial for you. I didn't ask him any question. I said, I want you to. Because I'm in control. Okay? You close policies. Right now, I'm teaching you how to close policies without asking questions.
Could you repeat that last thing you started with? I'm going to
ask you some health questions. That's a close. Right there. You don't ask them, do you want me to ask you some health questions? So that, do you want me to show you three options? So that, do you want me to write your beneficiary's name? No. I'm going to ask you some health questions. After that, I'm going to show you three options. And after the three options, I want you to pick the one that is most beneficial and mostly within your budget. Why do you want to say mostly within your budget? One, because you want to build the credibility that you're not there to bump them up on payments. Two, because you don't want to charge back on your accounts. So, when I get into a life insurance policy and after I ask them the health questions, I don't even show them three options. Before I show them three options, I say, what's your beneficiary's name? The reason why I do that is, how do I know that I have a sell in the house? I hear a lot of you saying, what if you don't sell in the house? No, what if you sell in the house by closing the deal without asking questions? You don't ask questions, you don't close. You don't ask questions, you will close. Okay? So, after I ask them the health questions, let's say a life insurance policy, I say, and the reason why I use example for life insurance policies is because most of us, especially as brand new agents, will focus on easy issue life insurance policies. So I say, what's the most primary beneficiary that you want to put on this policy? Before showing them any numbers, what's the most primary? And I'm not even looking at them. I'm not looking at them into their eyes. If I look at them into their eyes, I'm giving them the chance to give me an objection. If I say, Mr. Payam, what's the name of your beneficiary, and I look at him like that, I'm giving the chance for him to give me an objection. But rather than that, I say, what's your primary beneficiary's name? And I wait. If they pause on me for 10 minutes, I'm pausing like this for 10 minutes until they gave me the beneficiary's name. I don't bring my head up. I bring my head up, I'm giving them a chance to give me objections. Okay? And then I say, listen, I can put a second person as a contingent. Contingent means if, God forbid, something happens to your primary beneficiary before you, then the money will go to your contingent. I get them involved with questions. You want to get them involved. When I was in the car business, when I went for a test drive with a customer, when they came back from a test drive, I would leave the keys in their hands. I would leave. They would be handing it to me, and I would say, no, just keep it. Just keep it in your hands right now. Why do I want to do that? Because I want them to feel the car. I want them to feel that they own the car by holding the keys in their hands. Same thing in the insurance. I want them to feel that they own the insurance policy by asking the beneficiary's name, by getting them involved in the beneficiary's questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So after I ask the questions, I show them the three options. I shut up, I wait for them to answer. Once they answer, I circle it around. I say, how do you spell your first name? And that's how I close. Did I ask any questions? I'm just as confident as I am right now when I'm in the client's house. If you mumble, you're not selling. If you're quiet, if your tone of voice is low, you will not sell. All of these have to be backed up with a lot of confidence. If it's not backed up with a lot of confidence, they will throw you objections. They will say no to you. If you ask yourself, what if I don't sell? Okay? You will sell in the house if you do everything that I'm telling you, being backed up with a lot of confidence. How to overcome objections. As new insurance agents, you're going to get objections in the house. This is a huge part that you want to pay attention to. You want to write these down, okay? I learned this in Winner's Edge. After being in the business for 3 or 4 months, you go to a company's program that's called Winner's Edge, and it's called pivoting. You ask them 2 consequence questions, make them face the reality, and you ask them 2 positive questions. Put them in a better position, giving them a solution, and you close. And I used to do that before Winner's Edge, and I didn't know that it was called pivoting. I used to do it, and I would say, wow, this works. This really works, but I don't know what I should call it. I shouldn't even tell anybody because it really works. I don't want a competition for myself. And I went to Winner's Edge, and I heard it, and I'm like, oh. So it was actually invented before I really thought about it. So here I am sharing it with you guys. Throw me an objection, guys. Throw me an objection. What kind of objections do you get in the house?
I want to think about it.
You want to think about it.
I got plenty of insurance.
Okay, let's overcome those 2 objections. You want to think about it. That's fantastic. You know, one thing that I always admire for my clients to do is to think about it. You never want to make a choice without thinking about it. I first acknowledge what they say. I acknowledge what they say, and I relate to them. And then I say, you want to think about it on why you would need this policy for you to, when you pass away. You want to think about, Miss Candace, do you want to think about whether you should rather put money aside for your children or not? Is that what you want to think about?
I'd like to discuss it with my children.
Sure. That's understandable. You know, one thing as a parent is, when I look at it as a son's standpoint, I would never, if my mother comes to me and my mother says, do you want me to buy life insurance for me to put aside for you? I would never tell my mother, yes, mother, buy life insurance so when you die, I can have money. From a son's standpoint, I would never say that to my mother. So when you want to discuss it with your son, the first thing that he's going to do is, no, mother, you shouldn't buy life insurance. But you as a wise mother, you as a wise parent, should know better than that you should leave something for your family. Miss Candace, what happens if, God forbid, you don't leave money for your children and all your money goes to probate and your children have to work to pay for their educational expenses? They have to work full time, sweat all day at work, and after work they have to go to class at 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock to pay for their educational expenses. How would you feel about that because you didn't put money aside for them?
Disappointed in myself.
Sure, I would feel the same. How would you feel if your son told you, no, mother, you shouldn't buy a life insurance, and you really listened to your son, and God forbid, when you passed away, your son had to go through washing cars to pay for your burial expenses? Wouldn't you think that's against the human rights, Ms. Candace? How would you feel if that happened to your son?
I wouldn't want them to have to go through.
Sure. So in this case, you would agree that a life insurance is really for your loved ones, not for yourself, right? And how would you feel if you could put a peace of mind for your family, not to go through working full time to pay for their educational expenses, nor to do car wash to pay for your burial expenses? You would feel good, right?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, Ms. Candace, I can get a check for $50.46 a month. And if you could bring me a cup of water, I would appreciate it. And bring me your ID so I can fill out your application. Beautiful. That's exactly how I sell in the house. They throw me 20 objections, I will throw back 40 constant questions. You ask them two